Hello again, I'm back with another video, and this time I wanted to show off my new tiny Whoop workstation. Like many of you, I tinker with the tiny Whoops, and that means going into Betaflight on a regular basis to make some changes. But as we all know, you really need to keep the flight controller cool, and so I got myself a fan in order to cool it down, but I also had the problem that I rarely had a charged up battery anytime I needed to connect up to flight controller. So I wanted to provide a power source as well. And initially I was thinking maybe I'll just get some buck DC converters in order to get the voltage that I need. But then I thought, well, I could rely on the smoke stopper to prevent any current overdraw in case of an issue. But looking at a few videos, it seemed like using a DC power supply was even a safer way because you can control the current that way. So I ended up getting a DC voltage controller, and one of the great things is I also managed to get one with a USB plug, and this allows me to power the fan while also powering the Whoop at the same time. So everything gets connected, and as soon as I want to run it, I can just press on and everything's ready to go. But before I share how that all works, maybe I can share on the screen. This is the design that I went with. And the reason why I went with this design, because some of my Whoops are 1S and some of them are 2 or 3. And I wanted to be able to quickly switch between the two. And so, as the design suggests, you can see I've got one XT30 connector, and this one connects directly to the power source, which is at 8 volts and 2 amps. And this is enough power to get things up and running, and I'll show a little bit later. And then we have underneath, we have a little buck DC voltage converter which pulls this down to 4 volts. And this allows me to run the tiny Whoop 1S on the BT2.0 connector, while then I also have the 8 volts on the XT30. And I added a little switch here just to switch between the two, and that will allow me to kind of switch between whichever one I need. And that way I can safely switch between the two. I did think maybe I could just connect them directly to the power supply, but then every time I wanted to switch I needed to change the voltage, and I'm sure at some point I'd probably make a mistake and run 8 volts into a 1S flight controller. So this is my way of keeping things safe and being able to do what I need to do. So let's go through the test. So first I'll turn it on. As I said, I'm at 8 volts with 2.1 amps. And let's start with a 1S. So I'm going to connect up the BT 2.0 connector. Now, I haven't actually activated it yet, so let me turn on the output and switch to 1S. And as you can see, this is connected quite nicely. And on the bottom right there, you can see my Betaflight app on. Let me connect it up now. So and that's connected to Betaflight, so everything's running nice and smoothly, and I can even go into motors and test the motors with this power supply. I think one of my motors has a poor connection. I need to fix that later on, but that's good enough to test. Okay, so next we'll take that off, disconnect that, and now I will switch to 8 volts on the XT30. And I have my modular 7 hdzero without the VTX because I'm waiting for that to be repaired. And got that connected. And then again, come back to Betaflight controller, connect it up. Hang on, I need to connect the cable first. Now, the connection's a bit loose there, but that's alright. And then I'll connect to Betaflight, go to motors, and should be able to test the motors here as well. There we go. So, now I can do all my testing. I can put it on the fan to make sure that everything keeps cool. And it's all in one, and I just have to turn it on and it's all ready to go. Alright, so that's it for me. I'll share the parts that I used in the description, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you very much, and have a good one.